is now 7 o'clock. I'm gonna call the meeting to order, Wayne Township Board of Trustees, meeting for January 2nd, 2024. I wanna welcome everybody that's here tonight, thank you. And then if you guys had a chance to sign in, please sign in. If you guys already did, thank you, appreciate that. So we'll start off with the roll call.
Call roll, Mr. Jacobs.
Here.
Ms. Colvin.
Here.
And Mr. Patrick is presently absent.
Yes,
He may come in,
true. Let's do pledge allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, can I get approval of the minutes of the previous meeting from December 29th?
I will make a motion to approve those.
And I will second that.
Okay. All those in favor, signify by saying
Aye.
aye. Thank you.
Do we have any additions, removals, or disclosures from the posted agenda? I see that we have one highlighted.
One resolution, 2024-07, a resolution to approve the purchase of four gas monitors to replace the current outdated models.
Thank you, guys. Now we're ready for any citizens' comments. Do we have any? Seeing none, we will move on to our department head reports. Scott, you're up.
I'm up. Okay, good evening, board.
Good evening.
My apologies for not getting a report in on Friday. I was off that day, and with the holidays, it was very. But at any rate, I do have a report. The 94 fire engine has been picked up. It's sold. They got their money into gov deals. I don't know whether we've gotten it yet or not, but it should be forthcoming. They said they're gonna give me, they went up to our station and took some photographs, and once they get it outfitted and in service, they're gonna take some pictures and send back to me. So once I get those, we'll get them on the screen at our meeting thereof. There's several pieces of fire apparatus that need some attention. We started work on that. We got Squad 92 fixed up today. We moved the captain's chair in the back over to moved it over out of the way more towards the wall and make it a little more user-friendly for the personnel in the back. I did make an appointment for Squad 91 to go to Lebanon Ford on the 16th of January. I hope Tanner passed that on. I didn't know whether you were on today or not.
Got it, for sure.
Okay. So it's just for recall work on the emission system and then for some routine service. Still waiting on pricing from Strasser Construction. Once I get this, I'll fine tune the 2024 road resurfacing program. And Gus and I will go through that, and I'll make a presentation to you. We've made some progress on tree trimming. We'll continue to do that as the weather permits. So far, winter has been pretty kind to us, although Saturday's not looking good. I'm planning on putting the Expedition and the verge mower with the video of the verge mower in operation. I'm gonna do that next week. And then I'm actually planning on relisting the 12-foot snow plow that actually sold but was never paid for. So I've got to talk to our rep from Gov Deals and make sure I do everything proper and everything as far as that goes, and then I'm gonna relist it, and hopefully we can be done with that. Other than that, 100% of road department equipment is available for use. That's all I have for you, unless you have anything you need to throw towards me.
No, I just hope that winter weather just turns to rain. That's the key.
That would be nice. It started off as less than an inch, then it went to an inch, and the last time I looked at it, it's 1 to 3.
Yeah.
When's this?
Saturday. When's it? Get out from under the rock, Carol.
I've been having nose of a computer on the papers, I haven't looked.
So, be that as it may, if it does happen, we're ready for it and we'll deal with it.
It's good, thank you.
You're
Appreciate
welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fire department report.
So we received a grant for a sum of $40,000 to go towards a power cot and power load system as far as the BWC injury prevention program. That was along with the proposal we submitted for the new power cot and power load for unit 303 to replace the cot that is, was purchased in 2008. So it's the life expectancy of a cot's 10 years, so we've exceeded it by a fair bit. So it is time for its replacement. We submitted a proposal for new 4-gas monitors to replace the old 4-gas monitors. They have a service life of 4 years. Ours are 15 years old, and the manufacturer is no longer supporting any of the parts to maintain them. So we have 2 that are currently out of service due to batteries, and we need to have those replaced. Like the proposal said, we had 128 calls last year where they were used or should have been used. So it's a piece of equipment that gets used a lot.
Yeah.
We've solidified our training schedule. Lieutenant Newmont finalized that the first of the year. And then Lieutenant Newmont also started reference checks on new applications. We have 5 or 7 applications that we'll be processing and for interviews within the next 2 weeks. So hopefully by the meeting at the end of the month or beginning of February, we'll have some recommendations.
Great.
We have scheduled a meeting with Haas, which is an alerting system. It's basically it operates off of like GPS. So for accidents on roadways, it'll alert drivers via cell phone or mobile technology. Also, if you have the GPS in your car, it'll come up on your dash, identify that there's apparatus working in the roadway to slow down or the roads are closed. It's a system that's built in with all new apparatus. It's a federal program that any new apparatus has to have that system in it. The new engine has that system. We are just meeting with them to see what the cost would be to activate it and how it'll function within our organization. We'll be reaching out to Franklin Township and Warren County to see how they like it. They've activated theirs at the end of last year.
Okay. So is there any special, so basically if it's in the roadway, does it monitor everybody when the lights are on, or is there any certain specific?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how the technology works.
Mhm.
It is based off of 2 systems. One is the box in the truck. There's a physical box that will locate that when the lights are on and the power module for the emergency system is activated, it'll trigger it. And it'll also work off dispatch.
Okay.
There are 2 different subscription programs with 2 different costs, and I don't know really how that would fit into our budget and what the actual cost will be. We were contacted via the new engine rep last week to set this meeting, see if we'd be interested in it. And I do think that, we have had roadway accidents with our vehicles being struck. So I do think it's a system that, serves a valuable purpose. But if it's, budget restrictions, I don't know how we'll fit yet. So I'll get prices on
Sounds
that,
good.
and I'll submit it to you.
So it's different than just if somebody like programs their car for a map and, typically it'll show that the road's closed or whatever if you're on.
Yeah, so it's real time. It doesn't.
It's real, like.
Yeah, so like with the way Waze and Google Maps work, you have to record it. This will automatically, so right when the tones are dropped and the dispatch sends it via their dispatch system, it'll flag it within the Waze or GPS or whatever. So it's a real time.
So that's how
real
owners
close.
is notified, is through
Yeah.
that still, okay.
So, like I said, we got contacted this week. I don't have a whole lot of information
Yeah,
on it
okay.
yet, so I'll have a
Yeah.
better proposal for you with, how it actually, will function for us. Lieutenant Patterson and myself met with Lexipol, which is a nationwide policy program and training platform. I'll get more information out to you, but, some of the information from members of our training program really could be beefed up. We do 2 types of trainings. We do JPRs, which are, job performance requirements, and we do CE requirements. So we try to combine that in a 3-hour period. We could do the CE portion through Lexipol online via video or PowerPoint. And it tracks, it allows people to work at their own pace, and it will keep track of their own system, so each individual person will have their own account. So when you go for each certification, all the information's there. And then also have a policy program, where they will help you, they will write a policy for you and they will tailor it to your organization.
Yeah.
So it will update our policies, but that's it'll be a gigantic project, and
Yeah,
I'll present the information. I don't know if it would be something we can implement before the next fire chief is put in place, but, I wanna make sure we have some of this information working forward. Lieutenant Patterson researched, replacements for our tone pagers. We use them to activate, when they get activated when there's an emergency for the volunteers to return to the station. Like most things, Motorola is no longer, providing service for those, they're outdated, so as parts wear out, we can't fix them or replace them, so we're moving to a new system. So we've purchased one to test, and, Lieutenant Patterson has, applied for a state fire marshal equipment grant to help replace it to 15 this year. We'll try to phase them in slowly, because they're relatively expensive. And then, just as a finishing note, Captain Carter, issued out all the hose and gloves from the BWC grant from last month, so that's in compliance with the grant, and that was all taken care of.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. Yeah.
what do we do with the old cot when, does that have, something that has to go on drug deals?
Yeah, we can put it on.
I don't know what happens with that kind of bit larger equipment like that, if that's even usable, or if it's just,
Some of these smaller departments, kinda like in
Yeah.
Kentucky, maybe.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
yeah,
We can, Kyle and I have talked, just briefly, talking about some, different equipment that is no longer needed and everything about, putting it on gov deals and, as far as generating a list. We both agree that it's a pretty monumental task, so, it's something that we're taking little bites. So, but we'll be working on that. I mean, I'm sure, in the next few months, and then once the new fire chief is onboarded and,
Yeah.
moving forward from that, so.
did you go down to the old building too? Sorry.
We're just gonna leave that laying.
Okay,
We're gonna leave that dog sleep where it's at.
All right, thank you, Kyle.
Yeah, thank you. Next, we'll go to the zoning department report. Ms. Loney, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
All right, well, I just have my list of permits for last month. And then I included the solar information for you guys again to start processing what you might want to do with that, and included that decision from the prosecutor's office, as how he arose with the, his comments that these things are most likely going to be public utilities, or even when they're under 50, and technically we can regulate them, but still if they return energy and they're not just for a house, the current case law is showing them interpretations is that these are public utilities. So just need to think through how we want to handle those, and once you guys have kind of an idea of what you would like, I could, I would talk to the prosecutor's office again, whether there might be an option to just keep our zoning more or less the way it is right now, where solar is an accessory use. So the way our zoning's written, it only goes with a business or house or something, and it's for that business or that house. So there's no provisions, the way our zoning is written right now, to have like a large scale, like 30 megawatt solar field, because we don't list it as a permitted use anywhere, other than the fact that if it is a public utility, we would have to allow it. But in terms of, like, with the prosecutor saying we might want to just have some regulations that are in our zoning code, even though we can't use them, I would like to see if one option is to leave it the way it is, if that's something the trustees would want.
My question after reading what he sent, I don't know why he didn't cite the Ohio Revised Code 519 dash, what should I say here, 519 dash .213. Because that's where it specifically says that townships are allowed to regulate small, 150 watt.
But there's also the fact that if something is a public utility, you can't regulate it. So there's sort of a conflict, I think, right now, and that's what that court case was kind of saying, that it's a public utility, even though we're allowed, like in that one section, it says you can regulate it, but if it's a public utility, you can't. And so, I don't know, it's just so new, it's just so new.
It is. It
So,
is. And there's a lot more interconnections coming down the way and down the pipe as well, stuff like that.
and so, but I feel like I've seen draft regulations, that were put out before this court cases, and, some townships, is saying, well, you can make them like a conditional use or not allow them in certain districts, and so I think, that would be something we could still do. We can still, if it's not a public utility, by definition, if there's some loophole that it's not, then,
And it's hard
we
because
could-
some of the businesses set up the solar, and then, we'll put our closer in line with it too, and stuff like that. But that can feed on the 12 kV system, but then you also have the transmission system as well that they feed solar into. So a lot of times they'll tap into the 69 line that goes around through here too. The biggest problem with it too that I see is it takes up a lot of space, and then once it gets set up and on the property and stuff like that, it's hard to be able to do anything else. So if we wanna do a roadway or something, we wanna try to do these little things that, as a township would, to look at, if something grows and develops, then we gotta look at that as well,
so,
Yeah.
as far as regulating something, I've seen things where they propose like, you can't exceed a certain amount of lot coverage, or, so we have that like in our business districts, it might be a point, I don't know, I haven't memorized, but it might be like a 0.4, like a 40% lot coverage is the maximum in a B2 district, that isn't probably the right number, but for an example, so if you apply those same standards to a solar field, only 40%, only 40% of it could be developed, and then you could have landscaping and all of those things, but the problem is just knowing how the courts are going to view them, even though technically, the new legislation says something.
Have you seen anything
Right.
with the restrictions with that being in the,
I'm sorry.
like the commercial zone, like you were just talking about, in the zone, the districts? Have you seen anything with it in the zoning that says anything specific to the solar?
In ours?
Yeah, no, not ours, but
Just
just
in general, no,
Yeah.
no, I just have this one model legislation
Yeah.
that they wrote in response
The
to
one that
that.
OTA group?
Yes,
Yeah.
but like I said, since that's been written, there's been this court case that's, and like I said, Ohio State too is kind of weighed in on that, they're expert on those type of issues, is kind of saying, well, it kind of looks like we're going to see these as public utilities, so I guess for what I would say is just be thinking about if we are gonna put regulations in case, how would you envision that? Do you want to allow it? Do you wanna keep it so that it's just an accessory use, like we have it now?
I mean, yeah,
Residential accessory use.
right.
Any accessory use, yeah.
So, I like the way it is now with just personal or private use, I guess I wanna call it. Cause I've seen what happened, you see what happens in communities, and, it kind of pits neighbor against neighbor when somebody wants to put in a huge solar field, and I don't really think that's what our community is necessarily about. I mean, we seem to be more cohesive, I guess I wanna say, and, because the person that seems to benefit the most is the landowner that's leasing their land out for, and everybody else has to kind of deal with what they have decided to do.
So I could kind of, run that idea by the prosecutor's office, like what if we just wanna leave it? There's some definitions we need to add in, there's a few things that, they're not life changing.
Yeah.
They're just some new terminology maybe, and a few, but,
I don't know, I
yeah,
guess
I just wanna ask them,
We need the
Can we
terminology,
just-
we definitely need definitions and terminology, like
Yeah.
you said. They're
Right,
not
'cause
like changes,
there's-
they're still being defined in the code. If you don't have it, then
I mean,
somebody else
it's
can.
just that there's other forms of, So like, we didn't have like integrated in ours, so I guess it's built into some building materials now. So there's like a definition for integrated solar, and there's just a few little things like that, but I can look into that, whether we can just kind of leave it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see solar if it's out there, especially in the business area, I'd like to see it on the roof, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
limit the
that's-
amount of that's nearby that's in the area,
Well, it's
right?
an accessory use, like in our zoning,
Yeah.
we allow that, so. Yeah. But,
I guess I'd rather see it explicitly said that the kind of solar farm type thing can't happen.
well, yeah, I mean, if it's an accessory,
Right.
so, I don't know, I mean, just thinking about like if you had a business, and they had 3 acres or 4 acres, businesses just, they work just on that lot coverage and impervious surface ratio, so they don't have like a footprint like a house does, like you can have 50% of your house footprint. They have a maximum lot coverage, so that would fall into that, because that's how accessory, but that's how all buildings on business zoning work. It's based on that formula, but it's still contained and smaller. But, like, again, that would only
Our
apply
business-
if these aren't found to be public
Right.
utilities, so
And our business zoning is so
small.
small anyway,
Right.
yeah.
But, yeah, for the little bit that we could control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's,
It's a good conversation.
and, as far as the Board of Zoning Appeals, then, the variance last month was approved, and we have an upcoming hearing on January 18th. Ohio Greenworks would like to move immediately adjacent to the lot they're on. The lots are being reconfigured and
Okay.
sold, and so he has to go through a site plan approval, which, because of his zoning, it's different than the last garden center we had, which was a permitted use. This is a conditional use, so you won't see this one. It's gonna go to the BZA.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Any more questions?
Nope.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thanks.
Now to administrator's report.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
A lot of this is repetitive. Seagraves is sold, fire chief's open position. The current update now is on Monday morning. S3D sent out the final list of applicants, and there's 13 applicants on the list. They reviewed all those based on the qualifications, so the paper summary has been forwarded to the board with all the names redacted, and have been shortlisted to 5 by the consultant group for the assessment center. And then it's up for the board, if you agree or see anybody that's any applicant on there that you feel that needs to go through the assessment center. If so, we need to remove one and replace it with another. We can discuss that later in executive session if you'd like. IT, most of the items that Mr. Dow has purchased through resolution 2023-87 have been purchased for order and in the process of being installed and placed into service. The Township's 2-year audit by the State Auditor's Office is, with agreed upon procedures, has been published by Columbus. So if anybody wants to take a look at our audit for 2021 and 22, they can find it online. Fire department applications, Kyle has touched on that. We're working on getting those reviewed here this month. And then the upcoming road closure on January 8th for Lower Springboro Road. That's a peer project by Warren County Engineer's Office. A couple things I have here. The more grants were submitted last year, but I don't know, Gerald, you haven't received any check, I think?
No.
Okay. New BWC grant was approved. Kyle talked about that, so we're ready to move on that resolution. The HVAC replacements for the administration building. Probably have that on the agenda for either next week or next week, or next meeting or first meeting in February. And then firefighter Dow has applied for firefighter 2 class. And so, I don't have the resolution for that, but I gave him the verbal, Kyle verbal to go ahead, and then I'll have that resolution to, if you guys entertain paying for his training on. And that's all I have for the night.
Any questions? Yes.
No? Tanner, I was gonna say Tanner passed his, right?
He did.
Yeah.
Tara passes his grants and operating as a ALS provider now.
Good, good news.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Old business, we just have the website together. Going over, you don't have any other old business?
No, I have no other.
Okay. No other, yeah. New business, questions, concerns, and the bills. You have any?
No.
We just had that one.
We had that one,
question.
but we got it resolved.
Yes, we did. Very good. I do not have any. And let's go to legislation then. So we have resolution 2024-01, a resolution appointing Wayne Township officers and representatives for the year 2024. Whereas there is a need for officers of the Board of Trustees and Township representatives to serve on various boards and committees for Wayne Township in the year 2024, and therefore let it be resolved, you see below, President of the Board of Trustees, Andrew Jacobs, Vice President Josh Patrick, representative to serve on the Warren County Regional Planning Commission. You've got Executive Committee is Gus, and full board is Stacy, with the 2 backups there. And representatives serve on the Warren County Combined Health District Advisory Board would be the board chairman, which would be Andrew Jacobs, and alternate is Josh Patrick. So can I get a motion to?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2024-01.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion by Mrs. Colvin, second by Mr. Jacobs to adopt resolution 2024-01. Call roll thereon. Ms. Colvin,
Yes.
Mr. Jacobs,
Yes.
and Mr. Patrick is absent. This resolution is hereby adopted. This is the second day of January 2024.
Now we have resolution 2024-02. This is a resolution authorizing township officials to attend local, state, and national conferences and authorizing reimbursement payment for expenses incurred while attending those meetings for 2024. Whereas the officials of Wayne Township may be attending local, state, and national conferences or meetings to further their education or to represent or conduct business related to the operations of Wayne Township, and the Ohio Revised Code permits payments from the general fund for expenses incurred while attending those meetings.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2024-02.
I will second that.
We have a motion by Ms. Colvin, second by Mr. Jacobs to adopt resolution 2024-02. Call roll thereon. Ms. Colvin,
Yes.
Mr. Jacobs,
Yes.
and Mr. Patrick is absent. This resolution is hereby adopted. This is the second day of January 2024.
And we have resolution 2024-03. This is a resolution approving payment of county and state association dues from the general fund for the year 2024. Whereas the trustees and fiscal officers of Wayne Township are members of the county and state township associations, and employees are associate members, and whereas the Ohio Revised Code permits payment of associated dues from the general fund.
I'll make a motion to adopt 2024-03.
I will second.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Colvin, second by Mr. Jacobs to adopt resolution 2024-03. Call roll thereon. Mr. Jacobs,
Yes.
Ms. Colvin,
Yes.
and Mr. Patrick is absent. This resolution is hereby adopted. This is the second day of January 2024.
Now we have resolution 2024-04. It's to set or fix the annual salary of township trustees as permitted and determined by the O.R.C. 505.24. So whereas Division A of the R.C. 505.24 provides for township trustees to be paid for each day of service in the business of the township, and whereas the rate of compensation is based on the size of the township's budgets, and trustees may be paid for not more than 200 days, or a board of trustees may however provide by unanimous vote for the compensation trustees to be paid in the form of an annual salary rather than on a per diem basis. And the amount of annual salary may not exceed the maximum amount that could be received annually by a trustee if the trustees were paid on a per diem basis.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 2024-04.
I will second that.
Okay, I Have a motion by Ms. Colvin, second by Mr. Jacobs to adopt resolution 2024-04. Call roll thereon. Ms. Colvin,
Yes.
Mr. Jacobs,
Yes.
and Mr. Patrick is absent. This resolution is hereby adopted. This is the second day of January 2024.
We have resolution 2024-05. This is a resolution to approve the purchase of a STRYKER Power Pro 2 cot and power loading system. Whereas the Wayne Township Fire Department uses two different types of stretchers for patients' transport. Unit 303 has the 2008 Verno Power Cot, and the 304 uses the 2022 STRYKER Power Pro 2 and power load system. And whereas the Verno Power Cot is 6 years behind or beyond useful life per manufacturer and the medical equipment standards, and must be manually support the entire cot and patients of load, which increases spinal loading, resulting in cumulative back injuries. And whereas the benefit to switching to a STRYKER Power Cot 2 would equipment continue with minimal in-service training and be in compliance with the SAEJ 3027 safety standard, and therefore potential significant reduction of cot-related injuries.
So we've got,
And then we got, where, you would read the
Yeah.
second part too?
well, we have a grant for $40,000 from, EWC, right?
Yes.
And this costs $68,450,
Oh, man.
and we'll be using $25,000 out of our ARPA funds, so we get $3,450 we have to pay basically out of our funds, right?
Correct.
Yeah, we use 20, yeah.
Yep. So, that's pretty good.
That's good.
That's pretty good. We get a cot for a little over $3,000. I'll make a motion, to adopt resolution 2024-05.
I will second that.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Colvin, second by Mr. Jacobs to adopt resolution 2024-05. Call roll thereon. Ms. Colvin,
Yes.
Mr. Jacobs,
Yes.
Mr. Patrick is absent. This resolution is hereby adopted. This is the second day of January 2024.
And we'll be able to get this within the time period, because I saw that there was a 10-week lead time and all that stuff, looks like.
Kyle, I don't know, when I was rereading the, application, BWC, it says that we cannot order that until we actually have the funds deposited. So I don't know if you can give a letter of intent or whatever to have them place that unit on order and then,
Yeah, I'll work with, our sales rep from STRYKER. They'll do a PO.
okay. And then Daryl, I've made him aware to let us know when that comes in.
Okay,
Or
perfect.
that the 120 days and the 10 weeks don't
So we
interfere.
minimize that.
Yeah.
That's good.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Gus.
Mhm.
And here is, like what Diane said for resolution 2024-06, STRYKER Power Pro 2 cot and power load system project. So this resolution is authorizing expenditures from the American Rescue Plan Act funds using the standard allowance, and it is presumption that of revenue lost due to the public health emergency.
Let me go down to part two.
That's a good
Okay,
call.
yeah.
I appreciate
This
that.
is very long.
There we go.
Yeah.
You need to start reading the
Yeah,
top.
just
or-
read this
No.
part.
There you go.
Okay, now therefore, it is hereby resolved by the board.
No, I think it was the bold part.
You got the bold, okay. The purchase of the STRYKER Pro 2 cot and power load system for Unit 303 in conjunction with the Bureau of Workers' Compensation Safety Intervention Grant in the amount of $40,000 towards the total cost of the project of $68,450. So the project below, so now therefore, it is hereby resolved by the board that one, the township elects to use the standard allowance and its presumption of revenue loss due to the public health emergency and to use the amount authorized herein to fund government services. And number two, the project is hereby authorized and shall be paid for from the ARPA funds in the amount not to exceed $25,000. And the project described herein services the objects of the act by providing services traditionally provided by government, namely, I think it's police protection, which is basically ours is fire and emergency medical services.
There you
Perfect.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2024-06.
And I will second that.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Colvin, second by Mr. Jacobs to adopt resolution 2024-06. Call roll thereon.
Ms. Colvin,
Yes.
Mr. Jacobs?
Yes.
And Mr. Patrick is absent. This resolution is hereby adopted this second day of January 2024.
And here's our additional resolution, which is resolution 2024-07. Resolution to approve the purchase of 4 gas monitors to replace a current outdated models. So whereas the Wayne Township Fire Department uses 4 MSA Altair 4 gas monitors that were purchased in 2009 to evaluate for unprotected breathable air conditions and to monitor for explosive gases. And whereas the MSA Altair 4 gas monitors are problematic because 2 of the monitors are unusable due to short battery life, along with service and parts are no longer available. And whereas in the past 12 months, there have been at least 128 incidents that have required the use of 4 gas monitors, such as CO leaks, respiratory protection during overhaul of structure fires, gas leaks, and select medical calls to monitor breathable air in unknown environments and confined spaces. So whereas the alternative is replacing the MSA Altair with the MSA Altair 4XR units, and whereas the benefit to purchasing the Altair 4XR is that they operate the same as our current monitors, minimal in-service training, has a 4-year warranty, current calibration equipment is comparable with the 4XR, 2 times faster sensors, and user-activated instant alerts notifies others of potentially dangerous situations, and there.
How long should these things last?
4 years.
4 years?
4 years is a usable life,
Okay.
warranty the entire, their total usable life.
So do we have it in the budget for, do we put that in the budget, or is it too small of an amount?
No, it's not
To look
too
at,
it's-
to look at 4
It'd be
years down the
It's
road?
not a small.
Is it?
It's small equipment.
Okay. Perfect.
Now, they are repairable, our other ones, they're no longer making those parts. So if something happens, we can repair these.
Okay. For now, until they stop making parts for these.
Yes.
That always
There you
happens.
go. That is always- We'll be able to repair them as long as they
Yeah,
continue to make
exactly.
parts for them.
All right, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2024-07.
And I will second that.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Colvin, second by Mr. Jacobs to adopt resolution 2024-07. Call roll thereon. Mr. Jacobs?
Yes.
Ms. Colvin?
Yes.
Mr. Patrick is absent. This resolution is hereby adopted this second day of January 2024.
Perfect. Any other new business? that we can discuss now? Okay. Correspondence.
I have 3 pieces of correspondence. One is from the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation. It's basically information concerning what they call the wage tune-up, which I have to send to them so they can set our premiums on an annual basis. And then there is a notice from the AES Ohio for the change to Energy Arbor for the garage on Marvin's Lane, and also a change to 165 Miami Street, the old firehouse.
Elected officials' comments.
Just want to welcome everybody to the new year. It'll be a good one.
Yes, it will.
Yes. Not anything else.
No, I just want to again, thank you for everybody that's watching at home on the YouTube for our videos here too and stuff. That's all I really had. Then, Gus, did you want to do a work session or executive session on the,
Probably need to do executive session.
okay. So we don't have anything for work session then? Now I gotta think about
You
which
got
one. Where did you start reading that before?
You're gonna make a motion.
Okay.
And G,
So I want to make a motion, so we go into executive session for personal matters, O.R.C. 121-22G1. This refers to appointment, employment, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual. Executive sessions will not Is that it?
Yep,
Okay?
I will second the motion.
Okay, all those, well, Mr. Jacobs? call
Yes.
roll. Ms. Goldman?
Yes.
Mr. Patrick is absent. This will go into executive session at 7:40.
40, right.
Let us know what time you get out,
Okay.
and make some motions and such.